What's up everyone? Today we'll talk about altcoins and why possibly we will see altcoin season or maybe some kind of mini pump for altcoins sooner than we expected. But before that, let's look at the price of Bitcoin and briefly discuss what is happening recently. First of all, I think that maybe I underestimated this formation which I mentioned probably last video, and maybe actually it would play out because it seemed like it is formed and we actually had a breakout with relatively nice volume, so maybe the target will be somewhere around here. I still would be very cautious about this pattern, but it's really possible. Saying that, despite the bullish behavior of Bitcoin happened recently with these pumps, I would still remain cautious because even with the last one, we didn't go above the previous high over here. So we very well could repeat the same thing which happened in this area when we again saw the dump. First one, then some kind of retracement, the lower low, here is the lower low, then some more move to the upside, kind of second shoulder over here, higher high. But then after this, after the higher high, which could happen somewhere around here, we may see another drop. So bears still have a chance that their hopes will play out and we will see that area to be touched by the price, maybe even $8,000 or something. I wouldn't say that it is very likely to happen. I still think that this correction is about to be over or it's already over. But my point is that we should be very cautious, and now the uncertainty level is rather high. Moreover, if we look at the daily time frame, then you would see that actually the price action which we see right now is very similar to this one, and according to that, although we can go higher, we can still see the decrease after that. Moreover, if you turn on Bollinger Bands, then recently the price did touch the baseline of the Bollinger Bands, well, almost touched it, and had a pullback from that. So we are trading in the narrow range right now between this support and the baseline, and in order to see a bit more bullish price action, we of course would need to break the baseline and appear to be in the upper part of the Bollinger Bands, maybe test the baseline from the top once again. So right now it's still kind of neutral, maybe not bearish, but still neutral, not really bullish behavior. Although of course we already made like almost $2,000 from the point of the lowest low during the whole correction. But again, we should be careful, should look at both possible scenarios or maybe third scenario. And speaking about the third scenario, as usual, when we are looking at the corrections, for example, previous one or one before, the reasonable thing which you would expect to see after the lowest point of the correction is that somehow you would go within the consolidation period and then you will break it to the upside, you have a higher high, maybe have some sideways price action after that, and then go to the new high. And we were talking about something like $17,500, maybe even $20,000. But the point is, instead of seeing something like that, it is very possible that we will not see the higher highs, or maybe we'll see a higher high but then return back to the same like channel placed in the area of the current correction. And despite we will not go even lower, but we could make a quite long sideways price action in the same zone, like $12,000, maybe $13,000, and that would be quite possible and also not really expected scenario for most of the traders, investors out there. And at the same time, this is interesting because this could be a possibility for the rise of altcoins, which we are talking about. So if you remember, we were considering the scenario that when the new pump of Bitcoin will start and will reach the new high, maybe even new all-time high, and then after that we'll see a massive correction, maybe 40% or more. Then during this correction and the period after that, altcoins may actually outperform Bitcoin, while before that they're still sort of catching up. But first it will be a higher price, so the hype will be higher, and at the same time the significant amount of the traders, investors will start to cover their profits on Bitcoin and try to find some interesting scenarios, interesting entries on altcoins that will lead to the price of altcoins going up. But at the same time, maybe this actually could start right now. It is not necessarily to be the same intensity, maybe we'll see some kind of mini pump as I said, but again, if Bitcoin will start to move sideways, then a lot of the traders out there will see, okay, it's not that interesting, it's kind of boring right now, so maybe we'll shall switch to altcoins, especially since the fact that we already have a lot of the profits on Bitcoin, we can realize them with trying to catch some swings on altcoins. And in this way, altcoins may indeed go higher. And speaking about that, we need to look at the Bitcoin dominance, which actually acted very interestingly recently comparing with the price of Bitcoin. So in fact, I started to drawing this somewhere around here, and surprisingly it played out so far. So if it will go even further, have a breakout, we could see indeed something like 65% of Bitcoin dominance, and this would lead actually to a lot of the pumps of altcoins. Although I'm still quite skeptical about this formation, despite the fact that it actually is playing out very nicely. But the interesting point here is that if you look at the way of the Bitcoin dominance was evolving during the recent time with respect to the price of Bitcoin. So for example, here you see the price of Bitcoin is going up, the dominance of Bitcoin is going up. Of course, altcoins cannot catch up. People leave the positions from altcoins to Bitcoin, and mostly Bitcoin is rising, altcoins don't rise. Similar thing here, when Bitcoin is going down, people are worrying that altcoins will go down even more, and again Bitcoin dominance is going higher. But from this point, from the maximum point of the Bitcoin dominance, almost 70%, we see that despite the price of Bitcoin is going down, the dominance is also going down. So it means that altcoins either stay at the same area dollar-wise or even outperform Bitcoin at some point, which is very interesting. So it was going down during the whole period of the decrease in the price, and some correction even after that. And moreover, even after some period of the reasonable behavior of the dominance over here, we see again some decoupling. So you see the price of Bitcoin is going up now, but the dominance of Bitcoin is going down. So altcoins are moving faster than Bitcoin to the upside. And indeed, if you look at most of the huge altcoins, you would see that with respect to Bitcoin, they are seemingly having higher highs, higher lows. They are drawing some potential rising formation, and in fact, despite you could find it for the most of the altcoins, it's still kind of dangerous to expect that this is indeed the reversal, because for example here on NEO, you see after the long period of the decrease in price to Bitcoin, we see the pullback, we see the higher highs, we see the formation of this kind of triangle which potentially could be broken upwards. Instead of that, we see even a bigger dump. So the same thing may happen around here, or our XRP. Also, it seems like it has higher highs, higher lows, some widening formation, potentially a reversal, but it happened so many times before, and we indeed need to see some confidence, some longer accumulation, maybe a breakout of some key levels, return some previous positions, and after that we could say that okay, we have some more confidence in the reversal of the altcoins right now. But saying that, there is an interesting point for the altcoins in terms of the investment perspective. Recently there was a report from Grayscale Investments, and if you don't know, Grayscale is a well-known Bitcoin and crypto investment fund with a relation with Bar Zilbert and so on. So they actually made this report recently, and they showed some interesting data here. Not only the fact that they have some growth in their portfolios, apparently because of the rise in the price of Bitcoin mostly, but also they show some interesting performance in terms of the investment activities towards Bitcoin and altcoins. So you see, this is the cumulative inflow by different product. The dark green is Bitcoin, while in the beginning of the year there was some growth of the inflow. Recently it was pretty much stagnant. However, starting from June, we see some rise in the activity of investments to altcoins, especially Ethereum, which is continuing to go higher. And this is just not a cumulative, but the absolute inflow weekly. Again, here, April, it was mostly Bitcoin, and started recently more and more altcoins. Ether actually is almost like comparable level to Bitcoin, which happened before. It's actually quite huge. I mean, the absolute numbers is like $5 million, $10 million. But considering the fact that the price of altcoins in Ethereum in particular is going down, this is the interesting sign. Another one is Ethereum Classic. You can find a little bit of XRP and so on and so forth. And also there is a distribution between who is investing in those assets. 84% is for institutional investors, 5% for accredited individuals, and 11% for retirement accounts, like 1% for family offices. The point is, institutions, or at least those who are able to or interested in having the position in their fund, they are starting to accumulate their positions in altcoins. Of course, mostly Ethereum, but still it is representing the an average altcoin out there, so the one which most of the people will look at after Bitcoin. So you wouldn't be surprised if you would see something similar with activity towards other altcoins, especially the biggest ones. And speaking about the development in the space, you also have something like the backed launch actually on Monday. Well, it will be a test launch and they don't have the CFTC approval yet, but this is a political issue probably, and I believe the things will settle down eventually. In any case, this is the fundamental development and one of those moments when you can say buy the rumors, sell the news, I guess. And at the same time, we still have something like ETF in October, so which is not that far away from now, and you can expect that if it will happen in a negative way, so SEC will not approve ETF, but still probably the effect, negative effect of that will not be that dramatic on a bull market. But if it will be a positive decision, then it may initiate a new rise, probably to the new all-time high, higher than $100,000. I think it's really possible. Okay guys, I hope that all of that makes sense and the market is becoming more and more bullish and positive, so soon we'll see some gains, not only our Bitcoin positions, but so those altcoins which we are holding for a while and still in a big losses. But don't count on me. Don't forget that everything which I say is my personal opinion, not a financial advice. Okay, that is it for today. I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching.